in a number of areas.
And one of the main promises of the Diaspora Conference is that we'll be taking concrete action, not just talking about them, but working towards solutions and making steps. You know, this year's conference, it promises to be exciting and it promises to be impactful. Hundreds of delegates have been confirmed to be here, and in fact, many of them are already here, and we expect to see quite a few of them here tonight. The delegates come in mainly from the United Kingdom, they are from Canada, the United States, and of course, many from the Caribbean islands. We also have two very special guests, Lorraine.
Yes, we do.
First of all, we have His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, and he is the President of the Republic of Ghana. And also we have the first Vice President of Costa Rica, Her Excellency Mrs. Epsie Campbell-Barr. And I have it on good information that Mrs. Epsie Campbell-Barr is of Jamaican heritage.
Yes.
So a bit of a homecoming happening here.
Yes, indeed.
The Ghanaian president arrived on the island yesterday, and he's here for a 2-day working visit. He has so far met with Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, and Governor General His Excellency Sir Patrick Allen. He has visited the Seville Great House and Heritage Park in St. Anne, where he laid flowers at the burial site of 3 enslaved Africans. And prior to coming here this afternoon, he laid a floral tribute at the shrine of Jamaica's first national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
Okay, so with me is Rosalie Hamilton, and she is the head of the Diaspora Day of Service. You're the organizer of that event, so you'll be telling me some more about what's happening on the Day of Service. First of all, when is the Diaspora Day of Service?
It's on the 20th of June, Thursday.
Right, and what are some of the activities that are expected to be done?
Wow, a range of activities, mainly education focused. There are a number of workshops, but we've had a very new, exciting set of workshops around behavioral health. And so there are quite a few of those. There are psychoanalysis and psychosocial assessments done at some of the schools in the Mountain View area. That was really exciting. Doctors Gretel Bradford and Beverly Gordon. These are professionals who've really given their time to look at this issue that we have in Jamaica of the kind of psychological trauma that a lot of young people are going through. So we have a range of interventions around behavioral health. We also have a sporting intervention by one of our youngest diaspora member, Stefan Gillen, and he's rolling out a series of basketball training for coaches as well as youngsters, and so we're excited about that sport input. We have the usual health fairs and missions. We have a few schools that will be renovated and computers and so on. So it's a range of projects. In fact, there are about 21 organizations and groups that are delivering about 40 projects, much more than we did in the past. In fact, last conference, we did, I think, 29 projects.
So it's kind of like a doubling up on the
Absolutely.
activities.
And importantly, when we checked, these projects are going to be shared and executed with about 52 different audiences across Jamaica. So they're covering a couple of parishes and so on. So, one workshop would be delivered twice or 3 times and that kind of thing. So
we're expecting that about hundreds of people will
be impacted. I would say thousands, because in some of the health fairs, we do have hundreds of people turning up.
And I think it's important for us to make the point that this is an opportunity for Jamaicans overseas to give back in a tangible way.
Quite so. And it's significant because although we talk about a day, the projects are delivered over about a week or so that we recognize during this period, during this week of activities for the Diaspora Conference. But importantly, this is ongoing activities for the diaspora. And I think it gives Jamaica an opportunity to recognize that they're not just sending money home and contributing to, our foreign exchange health in the country, but very significantly, they're giving up their time, their professionalism,
and for those in the diaspora who are watching right now, who may want to come on in the next 2 years, can you tell them how to get in touch with persons?
Well, typically what happens is the information is posted on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website. And so what we do is ask people to go through a registration process. We simply register the project and give us the information that we need to provide assistance. And what we do as a committee, and I chair a committee in charge of the day of service, is to provide the kind of help that they need, like with customs and, you know, filling these forms out and all declarations and so on that they need. So we give them, very importantly, of course, the security. We want them to make sure that they come and they're in communities and so on in which there's security presence. So giving us the information helps us to help you to have a better project.
All right, thank you so much, Rosalie Hamilton, head of the Diaspora Day of Service, or organizer of the Diaspora Day of Service.
Thank you.
So
thank
much.
you very much.
And have a good conference.
All right, thank you.
All right, here with me, I'm sitting with Mr. Leo Gilling, head of the Jamaica Diaspora Education Task Force, chairman, in fact, based out of Florida. And I had the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Gilling the last conference 2 years ago.
And I remember
Mr.
that.
Gilling, I'm so happy to see you again.
I'm really happy to see you too.
And I assume you're happy to be here.
Yes. Always great to be at conference. Conferences where everything that we do, diaspora, we come back and talk about it.
Right.
You know, re-energize ourselves for the next conference.
Yes.
So we share all what we've done in the past 2 years, look at the status of education and all the other areas of that we cover, and then we re-energize, come again 2 years from now.
And I always get a sense of continuity, like we're building on the steps, bit by bit.
Always.
So tell me a little bit. The last time we spoke about education and building up these schools.
Yes.
Getting the capacity in there, you know, both the infrastructure and the capacity.
Yes.
Give me an update on that. It's been 2 years.
Let me say this first. Let me put this into perspective. We are the Jamaica Diaspora Education Task Force. We bring initiatives to Jamaica by collaborating and partnering with the Ministry of Education, the Jamaica Teachers Association, and all the stakeholders in education.
Across the board.
Right across the board.
Right.
And a few years ago, we started what is called an education summit, where we bring teachers from across Jamaica together just to sit down. We don't come with any kind of interventions or any initiatives. We just came down, sat down with them, find out what they do well, find out what their gaps are, what their challenges are, and then we put a plan together and
based
bring it back.
Yes, their feedback.
Based on their feedback.
That's so wonderful.
And then what we do now is, in collaboration, again we finesse that group, that list, bring it down to a manageable, ones that are the items that are much more hot items.
Right.
And then together, Jamaica and the diaspora come together and we hit them one by one. The low hangers, the high hangers, we hit them. And we've been very successful with it in the past couple of years. So the first 2 years we had a education summit in Jamaica.
Right.
But we felt that it is necessary now for us to move it into America, where the teachers now can get a different kind of feel, a different kind of look, a different kind of something about education.
Exposure.
So, yes. And so last year, the first time we brought the summit to Florida, we had it in Miramar. We brought up 64 teachers from here to Jamaica, to Florida.
Right.
And we sat down and talked about how are we going to get. They did some training, did some professional development, and then we did tour. That was the most the most satisfying of everything that we did, where we brought the teachers to elementary schools, high schools, universities, and they really, really enjoyed that because we brought them to STEM schools and academic schools, science.
So they got the opportunity to see these schools in action.
In action. They go into classes that are in action. And that was just tremendous. So when we were done, right, Broward College was a part of the audience.
Right.
And they came to me and said, Leo, can we do this at our college?
Yeah.
And so they hosted the one this year where we brought up 125 teachers.
64 first.
From 64 to 125, right? And so we partnered with Broward Schools. That's a school system run by Mr. Runcie.
Right.
And then we partnered with the college, the Broward College. And Broward College did an excellent job, man. We had several training sessions. We had several professional development, just forums and workshops all over.
Right.
And what was beautiful, because I drove one of the vans, I had 25 people that I took to 3 different schools.
Yes.
And you would think that, there's no new learning in agriculture. We went to a school where there was an agricultural class in session, and they took us outside, and there was a planter with 4 by 6 in the ground, 4 by 6.
Right.
And they planted carrots and cabbage and lettuce.
The
students. And they were eating that day, so we joined them.
What?
They were eating from the farm. And
Grow what to eat.
I'm telling you. And the good thing about it, some of the teachers says, but look at this. We thought we need 13 acres of land to plant and teach,
Man.
But it was really, really good to feel the vibes of the teachers. They gave us some really good feedback, and we're happy. Other things that are happening, we just launched because we think that behavior and education go hand in hand.
Yes.
And we also think that crime is a solution. Education is a solution for crime.
Right.
And so we have launched a behavioral task force. It's Jamaica Diaspora Behavioral Task Force. We just launched it a couple of days ago, and she's out there. I'll bring her over because I really want you to hear her.
Well,
that is really strong. Yes, man. And then we also launched it's not a task force, but a project to blend education with crime.
Well, Sir Gilling, it sounds like so much is happening.
Oh, yeah, man. And
I can imagine that we're going to hear so much more about this over the next 4 days.
It's really exciting.
I love the focuses that you're putting on using education, not in a silo, but to touch everything else.
It touches everything else.
So,
it touches everything else.
So I look forward to seeing you again. Hopefully we'll get the chance to talk again.
Oh, my. I hope it's not 2 more years.
All right. Definitely.
Thank you.
With me is Dr. Rupert Francis, and he is a Jamaica Diaspora Advisory Board member for the Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force. You're the global lead. Now, we know that crime is a serious issue for our country, and one that the diaspora believes they can help us with, one that the diaspora is helping us with. So tell me some more about the work of the Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force.
Well, Lorraine, it's good to meet you. As I told you, my first daughter, her name is Lorraine, and that makes it even more special. I hope she watches this. The Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force was born in 2015 when there was this surge in crime, and Minister Montague at the time asked for our intervention. Anyway, and so a group of us came up with the idea. Is it working now? Testing, testing. Have to hold up? Okay, great. A little bit more? Is it better now?
Just a little bit more. Put it a little closer. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, so Dr. Francis, you
Yes.
are the global lead for the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force.
Yes.
And we know crime is a big issue for Jamaica, one that the diaspora believes they can help with, one that the diaspora has been helping with. So tell me some more about the work of the Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force.
We responded in 2015 to the call in Parliament by the then Minister Montague. We felt that we saw the upsurge. I had myself served for many, many years in the Jamaica Defense Force as the first military police officer, and I had studied law and many other subjects on criminality. And I felt that we had Jamaicans abroad that perhaps could lend something to help to resolve crime. And we developed an approach from the womb to the tomb, in the sense that we felt that crime is a multifaceted thing and it's not just a one-size-fits-all. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't feel that Jamaica needed a brand like that, and Jamaicans on a whole fit that brand from my perspective, having grown up in Jamaica. And I felt that this is something that we could do as Jamaicans who work in the field abroad, whether you're in policing, whether you're in psychology, sociology, and what have you. So we came up with a title, Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force. Emphasis on intervention and prevention. And that is the goal. So we got like-minded persons, a number of them in a flash. Within a month, we had gathered maybe nearly over 100, 200 persons with such. And we came to Jamaica on a fact-finding mission. We laid a foundation. We met with the ministry. We met with the police commissioner. We met with every entity that we could. And we laid out a plan, and we have been sticking to that plan ever since.
All right, so you mentioned from the womb to the tomb, meaning that you're working with young people.
Absolutely,
and so on.
You're totally right, Lorraine. I mean, we have to, the key is you have to start. You know, I follow the Bible in many aspects. One of the things that says, train up the child in the way it must go, and when it is old, it will not depart therefrom. I think we have a cultural shift right now, a culture that is not really a Jamaican culture of crime and violence. I believe that every Jamaican believes in God, let's say. I mean, not ashamed to say that. And faith, they have some degree of rules and regulations. So if we get back to that and we start with the children to respect themselves, to respect each other, to not try to resolve issues through conflict, love your brother as yourself and all that sort of thing. If we do that, you know, there's a concept called community policing, which is not a softer approach to policing rather than a harder approach. The harder approach is necessary, you know, but the soft approach will yield more results. And I have statistics to prove that. And we have people who have worked in that capacity abroad, Jamaicans, who are willing to come back and assist and have been assisting in that process.
All right, so about 4 years in since the Crime Prevention and Intervention Task Force was established,
Yes.
What are some of the things that you've done since then?
Well, we have worked with the police, for example, and we have done some anti-gang training. We have also done some leadership training. We've been to the Department of Corrections on several occasions with experts from Canada and in England, and we have helped them to develop programs, training programs, and what have you. So we are now in a situation where we are gathering psychologists, sociologists for massive social intervention. And for example, we are partnering with local people, mainly the faith-based communities like Operation Save, Christian Diaspora, Church Street Pastors, and the Manchester Peace Coalition, and so on. And we are, in fact, on this day of service coming up, we are hoping to be in Majestic Gardens talking and with the doing something with the children, not only giving anything away, but to sort of lay a foundation for the future that is sustainable, as the motto of the now conference says, sustainable engagement. That's what we're trying to do. So yes.
Okay, Dr. Francis, thank you so much, and all the best for this 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference.
Okay, thank you very much, and I appreciate the shout out. Okay, thank you very much. Good.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to move to your seats at this time.
Okay, Theodore, so you were mentioning that the president of Ghana is here,
Yep.
and he specifically chose Jamaica as part of his visit to the region in light of our rich history and socio-cultural linkage to the African continent. And the president of Ghana will address this opening ceremony, so that is something for persons to look forward to. We'll also be hearing from our Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Yes, we will. So, Lorraine, the government of Ghana has declared 2019 a very interesting title, the Year of Return.
Right.
And they've declared it the Year of Return to commemorate 400 years since the first enslaved Africans landed in Jamestown, Virginia. Right, we're hearing a bit of announcement. It seems like we're going to get on the way.
We're almost ready to begin. All right, so the first conference of this kind was held in 2004 in June, like today, and it brought together members of the diaspora from the United Kingdom, Canada, and the United States of America, and that was a two-day event.
Yeah.
Now, to formalize the recommendation from the conference, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade obtained approval from Cabinet, after which the then Governor General, Sir Howard Cook, issued a proclamation on June 14, 2005, for Diaspora Day to be celebrated on June 16. So today is actually Diaspora Day. Happy Diaspora Day, Theodore.
Happy Diaspora Day, Lorraine.
And since then, the conference has expanded. It was restructured in 2013 with much emphasis on diaspora trade, investment, and contributions to health and education. And we see where those have been bearing fruit. Many persons have contributed to the education sector. We heard about the Diaspora Day of Service with a lot of emphasis on education,
right.
on the health sector. A lot of health fairs are coming up on Thursday.
I've just spoken to Mr. Leo Gilling. He is the head of the Education Task Force based out of Florida. A lot of great work going on in the diaspora. We're seeing the arrival of some of our dignitaries, the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, Sport.
Greeting former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson.
Yes. And as she continues with her greetings, among the objectives of this year's conference, we're looking to finalize and endorse the draft National Diaspora Policy for presentation to Cabinet. Also, to examine global trends and events in diaspora host countries and the inherent issues, the challenges, and the opportunities which will have a significant impact on the diaspora. And of course, to establish specific actionable outcomes, including matters which the diaspora wishes to endorse. And
if you're just joining us, welcome to our live stream coverage of the opening ceremony of the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, coming to you live from the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. With me is Akeelia Maitland, and she is a Diaspora Advisory Board member for Northeast USA. Good afternoon, Miss Maitland.
Yes, the Northerners are in the house.
Yes, and tell me, what are you looking forward to for this 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference?
Well, I'm looking forward to some actionable items this time around.
Once
and I
again,
believe
ladies
we
and
have
gentlemen,
some
we ask you to move
ingredients
to your
around that
assigned
piece.
seats.
There is a recommendation around the diaspora policy. I think we'll be moving. We have some progress on that, and there should be some endorsement at the conference for that, as well as some repurposing of our structure to make sure that we're really advancing some of the recommendations coming out of the conference.
And for you, what are you particularly interested in? Which area of focus are you particularly interested in?
For me, sustainable community development, and as it relates to the diaspora, we have an organization, Jalawelo, Jamaica Land We Love. Their president, Dr. Donna Gabidon, will be developing a model around how does the diaspora engage around sustainable community development. So we'll essentially be designing that pathway. As you know, the theme for this conference is sustainable pathways, right? Creating sustainable pathways. So we are really excited about that model, and we'll be working with the community of De La Vega City as our pilot community.
Tell me just a little bit more about Jalawelo.
Jamaica Land We Love, I don't know that I'm the expert on the organization, but what I do love about their work is that, as you know, Jamaica is challenged around peace and security, and they have been doing some social interventions, including their young adult circles in Mountain View as well as De La Vega City. So they'll really be carrying that work forward in the future, and particularly working with our Northeast USA members.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a good conference.
Thank you.
Please stand for the arrival of the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. And please remain standing immediately after for the playing of the Jamaican National Anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. His Excellency Nano Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana. Mr. G. Anthony Hilton, representing Dr. Peter Phillips, Leader of the Opposition. Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Cabinet Ministers, Speaker of the House of Parliament, the Most Honorable Professor Sir Kenneth Hall, former Governor General of Jamaica, and the Most Honorable Lady Hall. Former Prime Ministers, the Most Honorable Percival James Patterson, the Most Honorable Portia Simpson Miller, Mr. Bruce Golding. Representing the Chief Justice, Mrs. Justice Lawrence Beswick. President of the Court of Appeal, Ministers of State. Representing the President of the Council of Churches, Bishop Christine Bengucci. The Attorney General, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Senate, permanent secretaries, Solicitor General, Auditor General, Director of Public Prosecutions, Commissioner of Police, Custodies of Kingston and St. Andrew, Chief of State Protocol, Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, heads of offices of international organizations, Dean of the Consular Corps, Jamaican heads of missions overseas, representatives of ministries, departments, and agencies, legacy partners, premier partners, official partners, hotel partners, sponsors, marketplace exhibitors, members of the diaspora home with us, ladies and gentlemen all, good evening. Welcome to this opening ceremony of the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, being executed under the theme, Jamaica and the Diaspora, Building Pathways for Sustainable Development. And of course, this is our Happy Father's Day edition, so Happy Father's Day to all the fathers here with us. Today is also special because we are celebrating Diaspora Day. Now, I think that deserves a round of applause, too. My name is Paula Ann Porter-Jones, and it is my pleasure to host this wonderful occasion and to also have had the honor of acknowledging all our special guests on the table of precedence. Now, with my having done so, those persons who speak after me may commence without all the individual salutations. A very special welcome to our viewers who are watching us from all across the world on the Facebook pages of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and also on the Jamaica Information Services Facebook page as well. We now invite Bishop Christine Bengucci from the Jamaica Methodist District to bless us with prayer. Help me welcome her to the microphone.
Pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Let us bow our heads in prayer. From one man God made all nations, that they should inhabit the whole earth. And he marked out their appointed times in history and the boundaries of their lands. God did this so that they would seek him and perhaps reach out to him and find him, though he is not far from any one of us. Lord, you continue to be our guiding light through all generations. Your steadfast love, mercy, and compassion supersedes not only generations, but time, nationalities, and status. We pray that your presence would fill this place and wisdom and discernment be given to us, even as we meet in this conference. May truth and light bring harmony. May healing, restoration, and wholeness be manifestations of our coming together. May reconciliation and partnership be forged through the shared experiences of our coming together. Thank you for every chair that has been filled here today, for each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room. We thank you. We have ideas, vision, hints, abilities, and time to work together. You are the only one able to see the perfect detail, the beginning and the end. Your righteousness transcends all our efforts and understandings. Forgive us for our pride, the pride that puffs us up and the pride that threatens to unqualify us. Strengthen our confidence in whom you have created us to be. Help us to work effectively and efficiently to bring about healing, reconciliation, and wholeness. May you continue, Lord God, to use us as your instruments and make us forever channels of your blessings. For Christ's sake we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Bishop Bengucci. Through strategic partnerships, Jamaica and our diaspora will continue to work together to effect positive change and prepare for the future. The next person to come to the lectern knows all too well the importance of building partnerships, and his company, Grace Kennedy Limited, is one of the legacy partners for the conference. He is Group Chief Executive Officer, and he has expressed that he is honored to have been asked by the Foreign Ministry to assume the role of this year's conference chairman. Please welcome Senator Don Webby.
Good evening, everyone. I just whispered to Paula that she is a genius in terms of coming up with the formula for the salutations. I was actually a bit worried about the length because there are a lot of very, very important people in here tonight. In fact, everyone is. But let me just start off by recognizing my friend, the most honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Prime Minister, welcome. Thanks for your support. My colleague Senator Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade. Welcome, Kamina. And His Excellency, Nanu Akufo-Addo. I hope I pronounce your name okay, sir. Well, I'm happy to say I've been reading in the press a lot, and I'm happy to say that my company, Grace Kennedy, we actually do a lot of business in Ghana with our food products. And I want to thank you personally for your hospitality of a Jamaican company doing business in Ghana. Thank you, sir. Let me start off by saying I'm pleased to welcome you all to the opening ceremony of the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, to be held from today until June 20th at the Jamaica Conference Center right here in downtown Kingston. I'm truly honored, Madam Minister, to have the opportunity to serve as chairman of the conference, which brings together Jamaicans in the diaspora and Jamaicans at home, really to forge tangible alliances which will create opportunities for community building, personal growth and development, as well as business investment and trade in various sectors. The presence of each person and organization represented here this evening at this opening ceremony signifies your commitment to engage in the Jamaican diaspora and your recognition of the Jamaican diaspora's importance to our nation, our past, our present, and the future. I, as a father, would also like to take this opportunity to wish all fathers here today a very happy Father's Day. It is great to be in the company of so many Jamaican men from all across the region and the world. Can I ask you once again to give all the fathers a round of applause? This year's conference theme, Building Pathways for Sustainable Development, is very important. Sustainable development looks ahead at how we can create a better life, experience, and environment for ourselves and those who will come after us, while preserving the environment and quality of the life of our people. Do we face challenges in getting this done? Yes. Can we face those challenges head-on and find solutions? Absolutely. I honestly believe that there is nothing Jamaica can't do, and we have proven it time and time again. I'm happy to say, as a Jamaican businessman leading one of the largest companies in the country and by extension the Caribbean, and I've said despite my youthful look, I've been in business for over 25 years. I've never seen the Jamaican economy in such a great state in terms of potential for growth. And let me share with you why I say so. Interest rates are at all-time lowest. Never seen it so low. There has been record quarterly growth in the economy. There's low inflation and relative stability of the Jamaican dollar. Unemployment, which we have discussed here at many, many conferences, is at its lowest in 40 years. 40 years. Business confidence is at its highest level since 2001. Our debt to GDP ratio is moving in the right direction, which means we're going to have more fiscal space to spend on schools, security, and health. And how about this? Jamaica, a little bit of Talawa. Our Jamaica Stock Exchange, based on Bloomberg, is rated as the best in the world, outperforming the best. I say that to say this, that as Jamaicans, we need to start, whether you are here or abroad, investing in our country, Jamaica. We need to start investing. What I can say that even with those gains, there is still more we can achieve to make Jamaica the choice of place to live, work, raise families, and do business. Vision 2030 is squarely in our sights, and we have to work hard to achieve it. My Jamaican family, within the diaspora, we cannot do it alone. No man is an island. Every Jamaican, wherever you are in the world, has a part to play in making our homeland better. The efforts of the 2.8 million of us here will serve us well. But can you imagine what is possible if we combine those efforts with almost 3 million of us living outside of Jamaica? Can you imagine that? Just imagine how powerful that can be. 2.8 million of us in Jamaica and 3 million outside Jamaica. One of my favorite sayings in the world, and I quote it a lot, by author Helen Keller, when she says, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." The truth, ladies and gentlemen, is that to whom much is given, much is expected. And those of us who can give back should do so. As a company with roots in Jamaica, Grace Kennedy, and global aspirations, Grace Kennedy realizes the strength of the diaspora as we work to become a global consumer group. I want to use this opportunity to thank every single member of the diaspora who has contributed with us along that journey. We believe, as a company, in investing in Jamaica for the benefit of our brand, both home and abroad. To that end, Grace Kennedy, we have opened our 6th manufacturing plant in Jamaica in Denby, Clarendon. The factory, and I'm sure my friends from the diaspora would love to hear this, we're going to be doing akis, callaloo, and jerk sauces there, both for the local and overseas market. Our 6th factory. We have also embarked on a partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture, where we have just started a new agro-park in St. Elizabeth with 110 acres at Richpen. The point that I'm making is that as Jamaican companies, as Jamaicans here and overseas, we have to invest in our Jamaica with a big picture of being self-reliant. These ventures will support our farmers and our communities and establish linkages that will play an important role in building pathways for sustainable development. Our Grace Kennedy Foundation hosts an annual birthright program, and many of you have been asking me that since the evening, where we host first and second generation Jamaicans from the US, Canada, and the UK. The experience come to us where they really understand their Jamaican heritage by doing internship across Grace Kennedy and visiting cultural landmarks island-wide. This program has had a huge impact on these young people who often form a strong connection that they go back home as advocates and ambassadors of Jamaica. Some of them even starting initiative to support Jamaica in several areas. Let me say this, the value of our diaspora is immeasurable, far outweighing the US $2 billion in remittances that you send home every year. The contribution is made through volunteerism, expertise, education, and so many other areas. Let me again use this opportunity to congratulate the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade for convening this event. Minister, I really want to congratulate you for your tireless work that she has been doing and strengthen partnerships between Jamaica and other countries for mutual benefit. I also want to especially thank my legacy partners. Can you stand, my legacy partners? Jamaica National, Jerry and Neville, Victoria Mutual, and of course, Grace Kennedy. Thanks again. This is a true example of public-private sector partnership. And to our other sponsors, I want to sincerely thank you for making this happen. I want to thank the subcommittee, hard-working subcommittee, who we have weekly calls to ensure that this event goes off well. Thank you so much for your commitment and your hard work. Much appreciated. And finally, let me once again thank the Honorable Prime Minister and the Government of Jamaica for their support. Prime Minister, thank you very much. In closing, let me say I look forward to the robust and fruitful discussions that will be had from today until June 20th. When all is said and done, I look forward, and I want everybody to hear this carefully as chairman of the conference, I look forward to the implementation of the ideas for our nation's betterment. As you often hear me say, what gets measured gets done. I look forward to the implementation of these great ideas. So in closing, let me say that we are one nation. We are one nation under God. This is my Jamaica, your Jamaica, our Jamaica. No matter how far we travel, no matter how long we stay away, every time we come back, we feel that emotion when we are touching down on Jamaican soil. Am I right? We feel those goosebumps whenever we hear our national anthem. And we feel immense pride whenever we see our flag. Regardless of where we live, one thing I know for sure is that we all love and have a deep, deep passion for our country. And we all want to see a better Jamaica. I genuinely believe, colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen, genuinely believe this. No way no better than yard. No way no better than yard. And that my Jamaica is indeed the best country in the world. May this conference pave the way for us to increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity. And may we each play our part in advancing the welfare of not only Jamaica, but indeed the whole human race. I finish my speeches wherever I'm in the world by saying, God bless Jamaica, the greatest country in the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Webby. Ladies and gentlemen, if I heard Mr. Webby correctly, he is saying that we are poised for profit, we are poised for success. He mentioned the legacy partners, and I'd like to take the time to detail at this time those persons who are helping us to take advantage of this wonderful time in our economic history. Our legacy partners, special thank you. Grace Kennedy Limited, the Jamaica National Group, J. Ray and Nephew Limited, the Victoria Mutual Group. Our premium partners are NCB Capital Markets Limited and Best Dressed Chicken. Our official partners, Caribbean Airlines, the Jamaica Tourist Board, and Jampro. A round of applause for them all, please. Now, the conference is positioned as a global forum and has become a pivotal prong in the government of Jamaica's engagement strategy with Jamaicans in the diaspora. The conference will do several things. Celebrate the contributions and achievements of outstanding members of the diaspora by way of the presentation of the prestigious Governor General's Awards for Excellence. It will provide public services for diaspora members and facilitate convenient business transactions with government agencies and departments whilst you're here at the conference. And it will provide a platform for engagement within the conference for young people in an effort to further build affinity and nurture their involvement in the life of our nation, much like the legacy program we just heard of a while ago. As we move through our opening ceremony program, I'd like to invite at this time Shadow Minister of Planning and former Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce and current Member of Parliament for Western St. Andrew, G. Anthony Hilton, who will now bring remarks on behalf of the Leader of the Opposition, Dr. Peter Phillips. Let's welcome him, please.
Despite the invitation given to me by Madam Chairperson, I do want to acknowledge the following persons. Most Honorable Prime Minister Holness, and permit me to recognize a very special friend, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo. We last saw each other when we concluded the Cotonou Agreement some 20 years ago. I welcome you to Jamaica as President. Let me recognize former Prime Ministers Patterson, Simpson Miller, Golding, and of course I have to give special recognition to members of the diaspora. Welcome home. I'm here this afternoon to give the statement for the Leader of the Opposition, Dr. Peter Phillips, and here goes. Even as we meet here in Kingston, the hearts and minds of many of us are in France, where the Reggae Girls continue to fly the black, green, and gold proudly, carrying the hopes and dreams of a people on the world's greatest stage for women's football. In many ways, the exploits of the Reggae Girls have come to symbolize the possibilities of our nation when we draw on the collective strength of our people, both at home and in the diaspora. For as you all should know, the team playing in France is made up of more than half of the players and coaching staff drawn from the diaspora. A similar feat was accomplished in the men's version of the game when the Reggae Boys qualified for the World Cup in France in 2008. We are simply better whenever we do it together, across all disciplines and not just sports. Today, I want to limit my remarks to the critical area of quality education and training, which we both agree is the cornerstone of national development. One of my first initiatives as Leader of the Opposition, not me, of course, was to launch an education commission to develop policies and programs to transform the present system of education into one premised on social justice and equality of opportunity in the building of a more equitable, a more socially cohesive, and a more globally competitive Jamaica. Despite the efforts of succeeding administrations over several decades, we are still faced with a virtual apartheid system of education in which only a minority enjoy the fullest opportunities for success. This objective, however, cannot be achieved without a partnership between those of us who work on the Rock and the diaspora, which accounts for some 75% of Jamaican university graduates in critical areas of expertise. The point is amplified if account is also taken of the second, third, and fourth generation diaspora members graduating from top-flight universities with the skills necessary to drive the island's sustained development. The opposition, therefore, welcomes the proposal in the revised draft policy that subject matter experts will be appointed or elected to the proposed Diaspora Council to assist in fashioning policy proposals on the matter of the revised draft diaspora policy. I take this opportunity to express the view, Mr. Prime Minister, that the entire Parliament and the nation wishes to participate in the settling of the diaspora policy, given the far-reaching proposals contained in the revised draft policy. I also would like to implore the administration to ensure that adequate time and opportunity be afforded the several stakeholder groupings in the diaspora to consult on the revised draft policy. And this is so because if the policy, once settled, is to be successfully implemented, the opposition stands ready to make its contribution because, again, we are simply better when we do it together. I wish for you all a successful conference that, through decisions taken over the next few days, pays forward on the continuing investment in the growth and development of the Jamaican people and economy, both here and abroad. I thank you all and welcome again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hilton. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the diaspora plays an important role in the development of our country. And just before I bring up the representative, let me see if I can find out who is here from the diaspora. We're going to do a regional shout out to the Advisory Board Diaspora Regions. Jamaica Diaspora UK North, where are you? Thank you. Welcome, welcome. How about Jamaica Diaspora UK South? All right, Jamaica Diaspora Canada. Midwest West. Jamaica Diaspora Southern USA. Wow. Jamaica Diaspora Northeast USA. And all of our representatives from other countries, where are you? Welcome to you all. Now I believe I can invite Professor Leslie Ann Samuel from the University of Maryland School of Business Administration to bring greetings on behalf of the diaspora.
Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Your Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, Mr. Anthony Hilton, Member of Parliament, representing the Leader of the Opposition, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Cabinet members, fellow members of our diaspora, Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for inviting me, or rather inviting your diaspora to meet, fellowship, learn, and discuss pathways for sustainable development. We are delighted to be here and appreciate the beautiful weather that you've arranged for us, as well as this truly lovely setting with which we open our 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference 2019. I became a member of the diaspora in 1971. Since a lady never reveals her age, we'll just say I was a teenager. I did not learn the term diaspora until some 10 years later, as an American friend inquired about the term. I'm really dating myself now, but I broke out my Merriam-Webster dictionary and learned that I was indeed a member of a group of people who spread from one original country to other countries. It also said that I was Jewish. As it turns out, the people of Israel originated the term. Since that day, I've come to revel in the implications of being a member of Jamaica's diaspora. Although we likely live in all 195 countries of our world, we have not left Jamaica. Thank you. Our hearts and minds are forever rooted on the rock. It will always be home. And although some of us visit more frequently than others, we stay acutely aware of all the happenings through the magic of technology. We read the Gleaner online every day, and we listen to Dervon Malcolm's Diaspora Live online every Saturday morning. And although we may not vote, at least not yet, we contribute to the families, friends, schools, churches, health centers, and communities that shaped our lives and our character from our eyes were at our knees. We do not give back. That is not our direction. We give towards, or forward, as I like to say. Our intentions and our efforts are positive and uplifting. Forward, not back. And so over the next 3 days, we plan to listen and to talk and to listen some more. We look forward to the opportunity to get updates from the public and private sector representatives, from a rich smorgasbord of subjects, and we hope to hear what some of our fellow diasporans are doing as well. We will explore old and new pathways to ensure that our island home continues to grow and develop as we strut boldly into this 21st century to fulfill our goals of Vision 2030. And then we take a day to provide service to our country in what is now a wonderful tradition of this conference. When we started the Diaspora Day of Service 3 conferences ago, we had 15 projects. 5 projects. This year, we have almost 40, and I think I'm being conservative, with many of them extending beyond the primary day, since many of them are a continuation of relationships formed over many years, and which will continue to develop into sustainable avenues of benefit for the givers and the receivers alike. And so as we come together this evening, I thank each and every one of you who put our country and our people first by choosing to be here, to be at the table. I am confident that together, Jamaicans all, we will indeed forge new pathways for sustainable development and give it forward as only we can do. To my fellow Jamaican members of our diaspora, welcome home. To my Jamaican family, thanks for having us. Delighted to be here. At this time, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to some and reintroduce to others Mr. Leo Gilling, Chairman of the Jamaica Education Task Force, and Professor Dr. Neville Ying for a special diaspora presentation.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Look like Michael Jackson, don't? Well, it's because I'm not supposed to touch whatever I'm going to hand over this evening. But I have a little history for you. This all started in 2004, and there's a gentleman among us who I wasn't so sure he was going to be here this evening because he traveled all the way from Montego Bay to make sure that he's here for us this evening. And the movement started with him. He has been our father. And 2 years ago, we promised that we will start what is called the JDAFIA, Jamaica Diaspora Award and Friends Award, Jamaica Diaspora and Friends Award. And we promised that we will give out the first award in this conference. About 2 months ago, I wrote to some of our legacy partners, 3 to be honest. I'm asking them to come forward too. VMBS, JN, and Grace Kennedy. Could you all, the leaders of each of these organizations, just come forward for me? I wrote an email to these leaders and told them what the award is about and told them who we have decided to award this gift to this evening. And they quickly send us checks to pay for the award. So I want to give a round of applause to the JN representative, VMBS, and J. Ray and nephew. I'm sorry, but the email keep coming back. So we are honored, really. This man has served as our dad pretty much every time we make a call to him, he's there. If we send an email, and I'm talking about from 2004, every day he had to deal with UK and Canada and United States and the rest of the world, Jamaicans going forward and calling him and talking. I don't know what his phone bill is about, was then. But let's bring on stage I want to say the Honorable, but Professor Neville Ying, ladies and gentlemen. He is worth every clap that you give him this evening. And I'd like to have, where are the gentlemen? I'd like them to come up, the 3 gentlemen to come up also, please. Can you? Because I want the picture of them to show that, you know. However, what we try to do is to replicate everything that is Jamaican and everything that is diaspora. So when I take this thing out, I want you to look at it. Could you bring it over for me, please? It costs enough money. And it's heavy. We were able to get all the logos on it. It says JDAFIA, the Jamaica Diaspora and Friends Excellence Award, presents to Neville Ying, the Diaspora Champion, for dedicated service to the development of the Jamaican diaspora movement. Grace Kennedy, Victoria Mutual, Jamaica National, and JDAFIA. He deserves it. Give him some enough love, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a minister, no, I'm never usually short of words, but this occasion I am. I had a suspicion something was brewing when I got a call from Ambassador Saunders to say, although you're lecturing at the UWI campus until 4 o'clock today, you need to get to the Pegasus, even if we have to fly you over. So I said, I'm not important. It's only the Prime Minister who flies over. And I don't have those contacts with JDF. And then I got a call, no, WhatsApp from Leo to say, can you keep a secret? I said, what the hell is this secret? Well, now I know what it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say a profound thank you to the members of the diaspora. You're all my family and friends. The phone calls, Leo, was on my phone bill. And it's one of those contributions that I made. The legacy partners, I must say a big thank you, because anytime I call on them, from Jamaica National, Victoria Mutual, Grace Kennedy, Jerry and Nephew, they're always there. I must tell you a story about Jerry and Nephew. On my way to Geneva, when we were launching the Geneva diaspora, or the Switzerland diaspora, we got 6 cases of rum as a gift from Jerry and Nephew. When we got to London, they said, you have to pay a duty. Well, we said, it's a gift. But I had a very senior trade unionist traveling with me, the late Lloyd Goodley. And I consulted with him and said to the lady in the airport, I tell you what, please send them back to Jamaica. To our surprise, when we arrived in Geneva, of course it was addressed to the embassy of Jamaica in Geneva. We saw them coming off. So we have had a very exciting times. We have had our arguments. Leo Gillen is not the easiest person to convince about anything. I'm still trying to convince him about knowledge networks for the diaspora to contribute to Jamaica. So we still have that argument going on. But the diaspora has been a wonderful group. I've had the opportunity of working with them through the help of our legacy partners. I've been all over the world with them, from South Africa back to Brussels, to Geneva, to Brazil, everywhere. And it has been a wonderful experience. I just want to say thank you all.
I like surprises, don't you? The high quality of the performance that will be on stage next is no surprise. The Ashe Company has had a long-standing reputation of carrying their talents to the far corners of the globe. Now, the company is an internationally acclaimed professional edutainment theater arts company. That is one that educates while entertaining. It is committed to the preservation and renewal of the Jamaican Afro-Caribbean culture, community transformation, youth empowerment, and social development. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please help welcome them to the stage, the Ashe Company.
I saw my land in the morning, and oh, but she was fair. The hills gleamed up once morning, and faded. I saw through the mist, a wave like a sea set free. Fade to the dawn returning, dark tide opportunity. I saw my friends in the morning. They called from an equal day. Well, now what sun is burning, burn before it's late. Down the way when the nights are gay and the sun shines steady on the mountain top. I took a trip on a sailing ship, and when I reached Jamaica, I made a stop. But I'm sad to say I'm on my way. Hold me back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is turning around. I have to leave a little girl in Kingston Town. Down the way. Down at the markets, you can hear ladies cry out while on their heads they bear. Aki rice off the shore, nice and the rum is fine any time of year. Sad to say, I'm on my way. Sad to say I'm on my way. Be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is turning around. I had to leave a little girl in Kingston Town.
When the world gets too much to carry, and my life becomes a new bizarre, and all of my friends seem so contrary as compared to the Rastafari. No, I can't wait to see the city, have a drink inside my favorite bar. So if you need me, that's a pity. You'll be out of luck by far. Oh, Jamaica, hold me, come let your arms enfold me forever and ever. Someone told me love grows here in Jamaica, leaving you. How could I ever? As I run across the ocean ferry, and my life has become a new bizarre, and all of my friends seem ordinary. You be out of luck by far.
Oh, Jamaica, hold me, come let your arms enfold me forever and ever. Someone told me love grows here in Jamaica, leaving you. How could I ever? Hold me forever, Jamaica. This is the land of my birth. This is the land of my birth. This is Jamaica, my Jamaica. This is the land of my birth. I will never leave her shores. I will never run away. I will always believe in the black, the green, the gold, I say. My Jamaica is a beautiful island. She is a pearl of the Caribbean Sea. And our people, they are free. No oppression there to see.
But all the prettiest women there be, they always beckon to me.
This is the land of my birth. This is the land of my birth. This is Jamaica, my Jamaica. This is the land of my birth.
In Jamaica we are a pop island.
Yeah.
Come to Jamaica and
Our hearts salute Jamaica. 'Cause this is Jamaica, my Jamaica. Triumphant, proud and free.
Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely fantastic, weren't they? For those of you who will be in the Miami area on July 20, they will be performing at the Miami Intercontinental Hotel, so please do go support. Our next speaker is the first female to hold the title of Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Attorney at law for close to 20 years, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith is currently Leader of Government Business in the Senate and Chair of various Senate committees. As Jamaica's Foreign Minister, she has represented her country at numerous bilateral, regional, hemispheric, and international fora in Africa, the Americas, Asia, the Caribbean, and Europe. Help me welcome her to the microphone. Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith.
The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Your Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, Mr. Anthony Hilton, MP representing the Leader of the Opposition, former Governor General and your lady, former Prime Minister Patterson, colleague Cabinet Ministers, Chair of Conference and Legacy Partners, members of our Diaspora Advisory Board, members of our diaspora, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you all. I want to, before starting my speech, however, make a special acknowledgement, and this is without any prejudice to any other diaspora jurisdiction represented here, but when I give the acknowledgement, you will share with me why. Because there is a place in the world where there are 5 elected officials of Jamaican heritage serving. 5 out of 5. And they have taken the time to be here with us today. Mayor Wayne Messam, Vice Mayor Alexandra Davis, Commissioner Maxwell Chambers, Commissioner Winston Barnes, Commissioner Yvette Colburn, good evening and welcome, welcome, and thank you for being here with us today. It is such a pleasure to be here with you at the official opening of the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. We extend a very special welcome to the President of the Republic of Ghana and his delegation who are in Jamaica on a working visit. We are truly pleased, Your Excellency, that you have graciously accepted the Prime Minister's invitation to join us this evening and to address us. It is indeed an emotional experience for all of us. I'm also particularly warmed by the presence of so many members of our diaspora who have journeyed from various parts of the world to join us for another important staging of our conference. Welcome home. To Jamaicans in the diaspora who are joining us online, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, big up and bless up, depending on where you are and how you are. We also welcome representatives of other CARICOM diaspora organizations from partner countries such as the Bahamas, as well as the many friends of Jamaica from various diaspora locations who are here with us today. I trust that the conference experience will prove to be a rewarding one for you. As Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, which encompasses diaspora affairs, I have been truly privileged to drive engagement among our diaspora while traveling across the world. In doing so, it always evokes a deep sense of personal pride and always a vivid reminder of the authenticity of our people. Your enduring affinity to Jamaica is priceless. I wish to acknowledge on behalf of the Government of Jamaica your contributions through human capital exchanges, investments in commerce and trade, and your overall support for Jamaica's growth and development agenda. Your philanthropic acts and volunteerism are almost immeasurable, whether through medical missions, health fairs, adopting of clinics and schools, or other social interventions. Know that your efforts are highly appreciated and touch the lives of so many individuals and communities across Jamaica. For us, it is simply never only about business. The Biennial Diaspora Conference provides an excellent platform where Jamaicans at home and abroad work together to advance our national development goals. We've consolidated this medium of exchange and are now witnessing an elevated level of cooperation and collaboration in the Jamaica Diaspora Partnership. The extraordinary macroeconomic turnaround and positive growth Jamaica is now experiencing provides an enabling environment for your increased participation in nation building at all levels. Undoubtedly, we're moving in the right direction, and we want the diaspora to be a part of that journey. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's theme, Jamaica and the Diaspora, Building Pathways for Sustainable Development, places a laser focus on the attainment of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals of the 2030 Global Agenda in the context of our own Vision 2030. The underlying objective of the conference is to define the ways in which we can work together to effectively prepare for the changes and opportunities of the future as we strive to support each other and to build the Jamaica we all want. Addressing matters that impact upon critical Jamaica diaspora partnerships is therefore a central component of the conference. One of the principal outcomes of the conference is intended to be the endorsement of the draft National Diaspora Policy prior to its submission to Cabinet. The policy is a foundational institutional framework for diaspora engagement. It has undergone multiple levels of consultation and reviews, including valuable inputs from Jamaicans in the diaspora, many of you here, and I will, of course, speak more about this in my presentation to the conference next Wednesday morning. In responding, however, to the representative of the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Hilton, I want to assure you, endorsement is for presentation to Cabinet and then to Parliament in accordance with our usual national policy development procedures. And I have to say that having personally undertaken consultations in focus groups, we established an email address, we've had the policy online for some time, and even the updated document is online and has been for further comment and discussion. So let me underscore our commitment to deep consultation and inclusion in the process as it has been to date. Thank you for your support in this regard. It will make it further sustainable and stronger with bipartisan support. Thank you. Let me also underscore that the Government of Jamaica is deeply committed to giving support to our diaspora in the locations where you reside. We must therefore also explore solutions to many pressing issues facing the diaspora. And these will be addressed in a focused way in the diaspora location roundtable meetings and will include matters of migration in Canada, the Windrush Immigration Crisis and Compensation Scheme in the UK, and immigration reform in the United States of America. Over the last 3 years, we have been working much more closely with our diaspora youth and our young people here. In that regard, I am deeply grateful to Minister Pernell Charles Jr. for the seminal work that he did as in the area of youth engagement during his tenure as Minister of State in the ministry. Minister Charles Jr., could you please stand and be recognized? Indeed, the government recognizes that there is a need to ensure sustainability of the partnerships and pathways being developed through a targeted and strategic approach towards the younger generation. And it is impossible not to be affected by the vibrancy of our young diaspora members who have led the development of the framework of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council, which will be placed before conference for endorsement this week. 20 of them have mobilized themselves to be here for this purpose. They are engaged, fired up, and ready to go. Let's support them in this. The Council will indeed be an important forum for driving the sustained engagement and cooperation between Jamaica and our diaspora and young people whose voices and contribution are critical as we move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference represents a tangible manifestation of public-private partnership. I wish to profoundly thank the staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, without whose support my work would be impossible. Our Chair of Conference, Senator Don Webby, whose effective leadership has been an incredible resource for the conference process, as well as all our legacy partners. Thank you, Grace Kennedy Limited. Thank you, Jamaica National. Thank you, J. Ray and Nephew. Thank you, Victoria Mutual Building Society. Thank you also to our premium partners, NCB Capital Markets Limited, Best Dressed Chicken, and official partners, Jampro, JTB, and the Caribbean Airlines, as well as our partner ministries, departments, and agencies. Without you, this conference would not be a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, our relationship with the diaspora is strong. We are engaged. We are in collaboration. We're on the threshold of a new chapter in Jamaica Diaspora Homeland Partnership. Let's continue to work together to build a new Jamaica. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Johnson-Smith. The President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, was a leading member of the People's Movement for Freedom and Justice and a founding member of the New Patriotic Party. His Excellency is a notable businessman and a devout Christian. A lawyer by training, he has held numerous positions in the public sector of Ghana. He served as Member of Parliament, Attorney General, and Minister of Justice, and most recently as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The President enjoys cricket, football, reading, and conducting voluntary work in the area of human rights. President Akufo-Addo is married to Rebecca, daughter of the Speaker of the Parliament of the Third Republic of Ghana, and he is a father of 5 children and with 5 grandchildren. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a warm welcome and wish him Happy Father's Day as he's chosen to spend it with us. His Excellency, Nana Akufo-Addo.
Yes, I think. Eminent clergy, Prime Minister of Jamaica and members of the Jamaican government, representative of the Leader of the Opposition, dignitaries of the Jamaican state, Ghana's Minister for Tourism, Culture, and Creative Arts, and members of the Ghanaian delegation, Group CEO of Grace Kennedy Limited and Conference Chair, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica for the invitation to deliver these remarks at the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference during this brief visit to Jamaica. I'm honored by it, and it is certainly good to be back in Jamaica. I extend the condolences of the people and government of Ghana and of my own behalf to the family, people, and government of Jamaica over the recent loss of the outstanding Jamaican and Caribbean statesman, Edward Seaga, whose protege, the youthful, excellent Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Andrew Holness, MP, has given my delegation and I such a warm and hospitable welcome to Jamaica. We're grateful, and equally so, for the very fruitful and valuable discussions we've had with the Prime Minister and members of his government. We pledge to each other our determination to ensure that those discussions give rise to concrete actions of cooperation. My last visit to Kingston was in October 2005, when, as Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs, I led the Ghanaian delegation to reactivate the Ghana-Jamaica Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation. We decided at the session, amongst others, to formalize the collaboration over matters relating to the management of our bauxite deposits. We also discussed how to operationalize for that year the Joseph Project, whose aim was to reconcile and unite the African peoples on the continent and in the diaspora, and to release their energies to help build Africa and the Caribbean. In that visit, the then government of Jamaica, and I'm happy to see Prime Minister P.J. Patterson here, was also kind enough to make a plane available to me to fly to visit the Maroons in their present habitat at Akompong. The joy they exhibited when I told them that an Ashanti, that is His Excellency John Ajekun Kufuor, was at the time the President of Ghana, is a memory that will live long with me. Nearly a decade and a half later, I'm back again, this time in an elevated capacity, i.e. President of the Republic of Ghana. And it is good to see that the passion with which Jamaicans spoke about reconnecting with the motherland then, as far back as in 2005, has not waned. There continues to be the recognition here in Jamaica, as so eloquently put by the legendary reggae musician Peter Tosh, that, and I quote, "Don't care where you come from, as long as you are a black man, you are an African." Indeed, Simon Newman, in his book, The West African Ethnicity of the Enslaved in Jamaica, says, and I quote, "Evidence suggests that the Gold Coast, now modern-day Ghana, was the largest source of Jamaican slaves who arrived, remained, and survived in Jamaica," unquote. Even though archaic now, the English name that was used for enslaved people from Akan ethnicities in Jamaica was Coromantee, derived from Coromansi, the small fishing village in the central region of Ghana where a slave fort is located. Today amongst the Maroons, you'll find a Tuesday-born male called Kobna, spelled C-O-B-E-N-A, just as you will find in Ghana, albeit with the unadulterated spelling, i.e. K-W-A-B-E-N-A, Kwabna. Other names such as Kwashi, i.e. Kwesi, Kujo, i.e. Kujo, i.e. Kwajo, Kwaku, i.e. Kwaku, i.e. Kwaku, Ekwao, i.e. Kwao, Kofi, i.e. Kofi, and Kwamin, i.e. Kwamna, which are frequently used all over Jamaica, are day-born male Akan names, i.e. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There are equivalent female names: Akusia, Adjoa, Abna, Equia, Ya, Efia, and Ama. You will thus agree with me that the ethnic affinities that tie the peoples of Ghana and Jamaica and the many aspirations and principles we share create a solid basis for the exchange of knowledge and the requisite expertise. That is why I applaud the brilliance of this initiative, the Jamaica Biennial Diaspora Conference, currently in its 8th edition. Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, right from the day when Ghana got her freedom and independence from British colonial rule on 6th March 1957, the first sub-Saharan state to do so, we have always seen ourselves as owing a special responsibility to Africans in the diaspora. Indeed, our celebrated first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was self-confessedly heavily influenced in his Pan-Africanist thinking by the thoughts of one of your most famous sons, the national hero of Jamaica, Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr. In pledging himself and the fortunes of independent Ghana to the total liberation of the African continent and to the cause of Pan-Africanism, on that historic occasion, Kwame Nkrumah named Ghana's first shipping line in 1957 the Black Star Line. Indeed, 38 years earlier, a shipping line called Black Star Line was incorporated by Marcus Garvey, leader of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, to bring Africans back in the New World to Africa and also to facilitate trade to and from the continent. Garvey himself had taken much of the inspiration in his Back to Africa movement from the initiative of the mid-19th century freed American slaves who went back to Africa to found the nation of Liberia. They might have started as slaves, but the contribution of Africans to the development of the Americas and the Caribbean is matchless. I do not refer just to the slave labor that built American railways and American industries and generally American infrastructure, as well as those of the Caribbean. I refer also to the role of Africans in innovation, in science, in sports, in music, in the arts, and in the fashioning of the Americas and the Caribbean. I looked up and took a few of the inventions that Africans in the Americas have to their names and which have improved life for all humanity. I cite these in no particular order of importance: caller ID, caller waiting, the fiber optic cable, pacemaker, mop, suspenders, ice cream scooper, lawnmower, ironing board, blood bank, folding chair, automatic gear shifted in vehicles, sanitary belt, walker, tissue holder, gas marks, traffic signals, world's fastest computer, voice over IP, closed-circuit television. Try and think what life would be without my random list. In the sporting world, Africans in the diaspora have shown that they're not afraid of hard work and discipline. Football, athletics, and many other games have been taken to new heights thanks to the efforts of the descendants of those who were forcibly transported to the Americas. And allow me to get personal here. I love cricket, as you've been told. I follow cricket keenly, and I know that as a cricket lover, Jamaica has produced some outstanding cricketers. Let me pay homage to George Headley, Jerry Alexander, Lawrence Rowe, the great, elegant fast bowler, Michael Holding, a.k.a. Whispering Death, Jimmy Adams, Jeffrey Dujon, and Chris Gale. In the field of athletics, I paid tribute to Ray Stewart, Herbert McKinley, Arthur Wint, Asafo Powell, Shelley Ann Fraser, Price, and Usain Bolt, the greatest of all sprinters. Prime Minister, I refer to Frederick Douglass, one of the greatest of all Americans, when he says that slaves sing best when they are most unhappy. If that is so, then the world has a lot to thank the black people in the diaspora for much of the music that has kept the world going in the past 3 centuries. All the great singers and entertainers of the past 100 years acknowledge Africa as the source of the rhythm and lyrics of their music. Reggae gets new converts every day. Let me recognize some of the Jamaican reggae greats who have kept us entertained. Bob Marley, who took reggae single-handed into the heights and breadths of the world. Peter Tosh, Gregory Isaacs, Jimmy Cliff, Bunny Wailer, Burning Spear, and Buju Banton. We're happy that Bob Marley's widow, Rita, has found a home with us in scenic Aburi. We were happy that Maya Angelou spent a considerable part of her youth with us in Ghana. And we are proud that W.E.B. Du Bois found a home in Ghana and is buried in our soil. Ladies and gentlemen, the picture that has been painted and the story of Africa that has been told over the years have been of poverty that merited charity. Africa is the place for charities and NGOs to practice their trade, and the battleground for debates in the developed countries on the size of aid budgets. We've had global music concerts organized to collect donations on behalf of Africa. Every celebrity singer and actor of any standing has held out a begging bowl on behalf of Africa. Documentaries and films have been made showing the most miserable death to which humanity can sink in a bid to extract donations in support of Africa. Aid has made no difference, and we've remained poor. Indeed, we're ranked as the continent with the poorest people. The irony of it all is that our continent is generally acknowledged to be the best endowed in the world. The great rivers of the world flow through our continent, and so are the lakes and the dramatic waterfalls. We have breathtaking deserts as well. We have minerals that the rest of the world will kill for, and all the minerals that are needed to run modern economies are in our continent. Indeed, 30% of the Earth's remaining minerals are in Africa. We have fertile lands, we have picturesque and captivating landscape, and useful and interesting plants, and we are still home to what is left of the big animals on our planet. Today, Africa has the youngest population in the world, and we have the human resource that has provided the manpower for many civilizations. This is the background to my insistence on the African capacity for self-reliance. I've been advocating for Ghana and indeed an Africa beyond aid. Simply put, I just want us to have more self-confidence and accept that we shall never reach the level of development we aspire to by relying on aid or external assistance, no matter how generous. It is a mindset that I wish us to discard, a mindset of dependency and living on handouts, which are unhealthy, both for the giver and for the recipient. When I talk of Ghana or Africa beyond aid, therefore, I'm simply insisting that we use our resources to build robust economies that can give a good, dignified standard of living to Africa's 1.2 billion people. With a schedule to reach 2 billion by 2035 and propel us into the ranks of the developed nations of the world. I'm insisting that we stop believing that our deliverance would come from a benefactor. I'm insisting that we take our own fate in our hands and work to bring us to where we do not look for or expect charity. This This is not an unrealistic aspiration. It is very well within our reach. At Niamey, capital of the Republic of Niger, on the 7th of July next month, the African Union is holding an extraordinary summit, which hopefully will declare the date and mechanism for the coming into force of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. The necessary 22 nations, led by Ghana and Kenya, have ratified and deposited their instruments of ratification with the AU Commission, which enables us now to bring the treaty into effect. With a market of 1.2 billion people and a combined gross domestic product of 2.5 trillion United States dollars, the CFTA will eliminate high tariffs, generate employment opportunities for a rapidly growing young workforce, and harmonize the work of our regional economic communities. The United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, projects an annual growth of 52.3% in intra-Africa trade when the AFCT becomes operational. With the substantial progress that our continent is making on many fronts, I stand firmly with those who say that Africa's moment has come. Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you must have heard by now that we have declared this year, 2019, as the year of return in Ghana. We are marking the 400-year anniversary of the arrival in 1619 of the first enslaved Africans in the Commonwealth of Virginia, which was to become part of the United States of America, initiating some of the most barbaric episodes in human history, the transatlantic slave trade and slavery. It has been 400 years of a remarkable history of unassailable triumph over unbelievable adversity. The black people have built and contributed to the success of the Americas in the Caribbean. And even though they did not willingly make the journeys in the 200 years of the slave trade, once here, they were and have been an integral part of the success in their new homes, even though they have not benefited as much as they should have from their toil. For many of the millions of the descendants of these unwilling travelers to the Caribbean, Africa remains a continent of deep emotions and unresolved questions. We want to make Ghana the focus for this anniversary to enable Africans in the diaspora have a target area to come to. Ghana recognizes its unique position as the location for 75% of the slave dungeons built on the west coast of Africa, through which the slaves were transported. We have a responsibility, and we do extend a hand of welcome back home to Africans in the diaspora. We're hoping that the year would prove to be a joyful and learning experience all around for all of us, especially in affirming our determination that never again should the African peoples permit themselves to be subjected to such dehumanizing conditions. Sold into slavery and have their freedoms curtailed in order to build up forcibly countries other than their own and create wealth for the peoples of unknown lands, to which they were sent, wealth from whose enjoyment they were largely excluded. We also want to use the events of this year to solidify our relations with our kith and kin, descendants of Africa, here in the Americas and the Caribbean. We kicked off the year of return with the launch in Washington, D.C., in the United States in October 2018. It continued with the December 28 Full Circle Festival, involving over 70 African-American celebrities visiting Ghana to reconnect with their ancestral heritage. They were able to view Ghana and indeed Africa from their own lenses and were able to eat, feel, see, and wear Ghana. the Homecoming and Investment Summit, the African American Investment Forum, the Pan-African and Emancipation Day celebrations, the Film Festival, the Full Circle Festival, and the Durbar from Jamestown to Jamestown are some of the activities that will be held to commemorate the year-long event. I've brought you several copies of the provisional program for the year of return, setting out the prospective dates and times for its activities. Please come and sample Ghana. Make the return journey a happy and joyful one. The year of return awaits you all. Now is the time to engage each other positively and imbibe in ourselves a deep consciousness and understanding of the goals and history of the African peoples. It says on the last door, leading out of the dungeon from the slave castles that dot our coastline, door of no return. Let us show we can return. We have returned. And we have conquered the humiliation and degradation of 400 years ago. I look forward to many Jamaicans taking up our invitation, and I wish you fruitful deliberations in this 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Thank you, and may God bless the peoples of Jamaica and Ghana and the other peoples of Africa and the Caribbean.
Ladies and gentlemen, what excellent remarks. They celebrated the ties that bind, they underscored lessons that we have learned, and they have inspired with possibilities for the future. One more time, please. At this time, we would like to once again, because we can't big them up enough, mention our sponsors. Special thanks to our legacy partners, Grace Kennedy Limited, the Jamaica National Group, J. Ray and Nephew Limited, and the Victoria Mutual Group. Please help me. We also have our premium partners, NCB Capital Markets Limited and the Best Dressed Chicken. And of course, our official partners, the Caribbean Airlines, the Jamaica Tourist Board, and JAMPRO. And we now get ready for our keynote address. The Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness was first elected as Member of Parliament to represent the constituency of West Central St. Andrew at the age of 25. Now in his fourth consecutive term as MP, Mr. Holness is Jamaica's youngest Prime Minister to date and the first born after national independence. Mr. Holness has pledged to build real partnerships with the private sector, civil society, the diaspora, the opposition, and international partners in order to achieve the vision of shared prosperity for all Jamaicans through inclusive economic growth and meaningful job creation. He is married to Juliet, who is a Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, a chartered accountant and a real estate developer, and they have two sons, Adam and Matthew. So, can you help me welcome our Prime Minister and wish him a happy Father's Day? The Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Thank you for that introduction, Paula. And before I start, may I also take the opportunity to wish all the fathers gathered here a happy Father's Day. His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, and I will dispense with his official title afterwards and say, my friend, your remarks, as obvious by the standing ovation, was very well received. They were genuine remarks. With which I concur and which I feel as represented here to the diaspora, not just of Jamaica, but truthfully to the diaspora of Africa, that Africa has a new dawn, a new future emerging, of which we must all be a part. I will abbreviate the salutary protocols, but you know, I'm the Prime Minister, so I have to at least follow them, if only in brief. So, my friend Anthony Hilton, yes, he's my friend, representing the leader of the opposition. I'm biased, but I will say it anyway, the best Minister of Foreign Affairs we have had. Senator, the Honorable Kavina Johnson-Smith, and other members of the cabinet who are here. The Most Honorable Percival James Patterson. Very good to see you, Prime Minister, very good to see you. And of course, we just say PJ. The Most Honorable Professor Sir Kenneth Hall and Lady Hall, very lovely to see you here this evening. You're always such good patrons of this event. For every time that I have been here, you have been here. Very good to have you. Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, thank you so much for attending. Senator Don Webby, Group CEO of Grace Kennedy Limited and Conference Chairman. Very good presentation, sir. And keep investing. It is a particular point of pride for me to be able to say to President Addo that there is a Jamaican company investing in Ghana. He was quite surprised. But I felt such great pride to say that we have global companies that are investing all over the world, including in Africa. So, yes, I'm to give the keynote address, so here's the first key point. Invest in Jamaica and invest in Africa. Agree with that? It's a key point of the address. So I could very well depart the stage, but I have some other key points to make. It is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to address you this evening on this very special occasion of the opening ceremony of the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Let me also especially welcome our members of the diaspora who are joining us in cyberspace, those who are listening to us on various social media platforms. Welcome. Today is also significant in our history as we commemorate Jamaica Diaspora Day in honor of the tremendous contributions made by our diaspora members to the development of Jamaica. Let me say that I've been following very closely reports in the media about the diaspora engagement. And the reports have usually centered on the fact that we have not been able to achieve meaningful engagement. And I would challenge that because just by the statistic that you have, is it 50 new projects this year? 40. Well, it could be 50, but it's 40. Conservatively 40 new projects this year. When previously we could only boast 5 or 15. Now we've had this great explosion in engagement. Certainly, something is happening that is positive in the diaspora. But more than that, we must never underestimate the value of our diaspora in ensuring that the economy of Jamaica remains strong, even in the depths of a recession. I will never forget in 2009, when Jamaica was just slipping into the global recession, like many other countries. And yes, remittances fell, but it was those remittances that kept coming that kept many households afloat. And as soon as things improved, indeed, even before things improved, our remittances started to improve. That is, yes, the ultimate sign of your commitment to your country, more so to your family and to your community. But a few years ago, when I was Minister of Education, I got to understand in greater depth the importance of the diaspora to the development of Jamaica. What the diaspora has done for our education system. With the schools that you have built, the bathrooms that you have built in our schools, the books and the computers that you have sent, the exchange programs that you have sponsored. Some of you have even come to Jamaica at your own expense to teach in our schools. The literacy programs that you have undertaken. Not to mention what you have done for sports. Track and field, in particular, the pen relays come readily to mind, but we could call so many other projects that you have assisted with. I will never forget, as Minister of Education, addressing members of the diaspora in New York. And there was a very passionate lady who came to me to say, Minister, I have been trying for years to send an ambulance to Jamaica. A special type of ambulance with all kinds of technological gadgets and health equipment. And I just can't get it sent. But you know what, Minister? I am not going to give up. The hospitals and health clinics that you have helped, the number of operations that you have sponsored, and medical missions that you have indeed taken your own time to participate in. We cannot place a monetary value on that. We're very grateful, we're very appreciative, and we don't join this argument that there is no constructive engagement with the diaspora. The diaspora is an organic body. It operates on its own rhythm. It will work even better with government coordination. But even without government coordination, you are Jamaican, some of you by birth, some of you by association, some from the generations. And you understand the vibration of Jamaica, and you want to feel a part of that. And I will change my term, not to give back, but to give forward. And so I encourage you to keep that special Jamaican-ness, that vibration, that keeps us together. I could not have this august body of our diaspora present and not give you a report card. I'm not the one marking the exam, I'm just giving the report. So some of you may have gotten lost in Kingston. Some of the roads may have changed. Or indeed, some of them may have been blocked off, but you're seeing the work on the ground. The government is very serious about improving our infrastructure. We want to genuinely make Kingston not just the capital of Jamaica, but we feel that it is the central city in the Caribbean. We want to make Kingston the center of trade and commerce of the Caribbean. We want to make Kingston the center of arts and culture and entertainment. We want to make Kingston the business center, the finance center of the Caribbean. And to do that, we must have world-class infrastructure to accommodate that kind of traffic. And therefore, we have started. We have started with the Major Infrastructure Development Program, which you would have seen is doing an amazing job in improving access roads into Kingston and major thoroughfares within Kingston. That program has also assisted with improving infrastructure for water and sewage disposal within the city. We've had a major problem this year with old infrastructure, and then that was complicated by a drought. We have learned a lesson from that. Whatever infrastructure we're going to build in Jamaica, it will be resilient. The infrastructure will be able to withstand shocks, those that are unforeseen and those for which we can have some measure of expectation. So we're not just putting down roads, we're putting down resilient roads that can withstand hurricanes and floods. We're not just putting in the water supply, we're putting in the water supply that will accommodate the expansion of the population with storage so that drought, which is inevitable, will not deprive the citizenry of our country. On top of that, we are planning smart infrastructure. So we're not just putting down roads and putting in resilient infrastructure. We have to make it a smart city. So we are also ensuring that as we lay pipes, we are laying telecommunications infrastructure as well to facilitate the smart city. And we understand that the development cannot be in Kingston alone. There are parts of Jamaica which, for centuries, and certainly since our independence, we have not been strategic in trying to stimulate economies in those areas. So those of you who are from the eastern part of the island, those of you who are from the parish of St. Thomas, let me hear it. Yes, the time for St. Thomas has come. So we will be starting with a 14-kilometer roadway, dual carriageway, and then we will be improving the road right through to Port Antonio. That project is now in the contracting phase. The contractors have put in their bid, I gather, and the bids are being evaluated. And as soon as that is complete, works will begin on ensuring that we have a good road to St. Thomas. And you know what is said about roads, eh? The road to development begins with a road. But as my good friend, the former Chinese ambassador, pointed out, that roads mean connectivity, and economic growth depends on connectivity. So we're not just building a road, we're making sure that the road connects to something. And that is why we're now building a new town center in Morant Bay. So it is the deliberate effort of the government to push investment and push commerce and eventually housing into the eastern part of the island. That is also necessary because we're making some investments in Kingston which we don't often would associate with Kingston because for so many years our infrastructure has deteriorated and we have had this issue of crime. But Kingston was a tourist destination in the 50s, indeed in the early part of the 19th century. And we intend to make Kingston, again, once more, a destination for people to visit, not necessarily for an all-inclusive resort destination, but for people to come and genuinely experience the true culture of Jamaica. We have so much to offer. Let me encourage, before I say what I was about to say, let me make this statement. And Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, you will appreciate what I'm about to say. We have estimated 1 million or more Jamaicans in the diaspora living in the United States. If we get 50,000, that's too much. If we get 30,000 per year traveling back to Jamaica to come and visit the Institute of Jamaica. How many of you have ever visited the Institute of Jamaica? I would encourage you, whilst you're here, to pay a visit to the Institute of Jamaica. There is a wealth of knowledge and information and artifacts there, history. To visit our National Gallery, one of the best in the Caribbean. Of course, you're all going to visit Bob Marley Museum. But when you're finished, you could now go and experience our world-famous Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee in the hills of East Rural St. Andrew. There's so much to do around Kingston, but we have hidden the gems that are here. And now it is time for us to build the infrastructure that will expose them. We are also making, finally, a major investment in Port Royal. You know, Port Royal is the basis of the movie series Pirates of the Caribbean. It's the basis of other movies about pirates within the Caribbean. It is, once called the richest city in the world and once called the wickedest city in the world. It is said that from Port Royal, the pirates went and invaded Panama, took over that. Well, of course, Panama was not Panama then, but from that little city, the Spanish trade of gold and other bounty fell prey. And that is why Port Royal became the richest city. But there is so much history there. It is the only preserved sunken city in the world. And we are going to make an investment in that city. But we're not going to disturb the heritage that is there, the historical artifacts that are there. We're not going to disturb those, we're going to preserve those. Our principle is that if we leave this heritage there unused, then it might end up being abused. We might end up losing it, which has been the case for many years. Our principle is, it is in use that we will protect it. It is in use that we will make it valuable so that the man and woman who lives in that community can realize that this is what generates my economic independence, my livelihood, and therefore I must now become the curator, the preserver, the protector of the artifacts that are there. And so we're making that investment, and we're making it in that light. We have already made an investment in a particular kind of pier that will anchor cruise ships, which will in no way affect the ecosystem and the environment there. And we have already started to do designs for constructions that will happen there. And it will become a port of call for cruise ships to once again come into the port of Kingston. We will return the ferry system from Port Royal into Kingston. It will mean greater employment for the people who live in that area. And we will be able to have economic benefit from our history, even if we were not able to have it at that time. But we will be able to utilize it now. There's another keynote which I would want to share with you. Over the last 3 decades, Jamaica has seen an almost geometric rise in homicides. But that is just half of the story. The full story is that in the last 3 decades or so, we have seen an unabated rise, even acceptance of violence in our society. And we have to look at ourselves and address this uncomfortable subject. And it will require members of the diaspora to help us with this conversation about violence in our society. Because there are some deep-seated, long-held cultural issues which are used from time to time to justify violence. And many of you who have now found your homes in other societies would have gone through experiences that would have shown that many of the things that we hold on to here in Jamaica are not necessary anymore. And I speak, for example, of the issue of corporal punishment, beating children. Many in the diaspora still, and certainly many people here, hold on to the view that the use of physical punishment was beneficial to their own personal development, and would be very reluctant to support any other view. But as we are now much more informed that not only does it have a generally negative impact on the psychology, on the outlook, on the emotional development, and on the imprint of violence which people end up projecting onto generations forward. But there are other ways of instilling discipline without violence. And it is very important for members of the diaspora to start having that conversation. So when you call home to answer questions about how is the remittances spent, you might very well want to start a conversation. How are you disciplining young Joy? And that's a very powerful use of the diaspora in helping to carry along that conversation about how we change our society. There are other things, for example, that the diaspora could be useful in having that inter-household exchange. You know, there is a major problem with the sharing of information with the police. And we know the informer and that culture, what should happen to him in that culture. But we can't keep doing this cycle of violence and expecting to see a reduction in our homicide rates. There has to be a genuine confrontation about supporting law enforcement, providing information to law enforcement, and allowing law enforcement to do their work and supporting them in their work. And I believe the diaspora can have a very powerful influence in that conversation, in that call back home. And I became sensitive to that because during a certain event which placed me here, and in talking with persons during that event, I was told that, you know why I'm going to vote for you? Because my son said. And when I inquired, so where is your son? Oh, he's not here. He's in New York. So the members of the diaspora know what I'm talking about. You are a very powerful influence on your households back home. And so a key message that I would like to deliver to you today is to use that influence to help Jamaica overcome the epidemic of violence and crime that is holding back our society. I would clap for that. Yes, I know it's a bit profound and it's going to get you thinking. But I can't have a body like this here. Family. And, you know, Mr. President, they will say, why am I addressing this with the President of Ghana here? But you are family. You are family. And the truth is that we have a closing window. And we have to be moving very quickly to resolve these issues. The government has made significant investment in our national security. We're spending close to 20 billion Jamaican dollars this year, the highest that has ever been spent on national security in Jamaica. Why is this? And we're doing this now 2 years running. Why have we made national security the priority in budgetary expenditure? The truth is that our national security architecture is not sufficient to the challenges of the modern world. We look at ourselves as Jamaicans as a small state. We're big in certain things, in sports. We have an amplified voice on the world stage. We are known. But the truth be told, that were there to be an epiphenomenal event, that Jamaica would not be able to stand on its own. Our dependency is not just on economic issues, but we also have to be able to secure ourselves, not just from the conventional threats, but from the new and emerging threats. For example, in the cyber domain. We have to be able to protect our borders. Yes, we are a small landmass, but we have 24 times the size of our landmass in sea space to protect. And where are we located? Where's our sea space? Right in the center of the Caribbean. Anything moves, it is likely to pass through Jamaican waters. And if it is going to pass through Jamaican waters, it may very well seek to stop here. And if it stops here to be transshipped, it will need protection. And that will mean criminal gangs. And some of the contraband might stay here or might become the destination for trade. Guns for drugs, human trafficking, and others. We have to build the national security architecture to protect our nation. And so we are making that investment. And I want to say to the diaspora, Jamaica is not just looking at itself as a small little country of no consequence in the middle of the Caribbean. We recognize that there could be threats that we don't even know will happen, that we have to start to prepare for. And so we have put in place Plan Secure Jamaica. That is working very well. That is a comprehensive view of Jamaica's national security, not just about crime, but securing our banks, securing our ports, securing our telecommunications, securing our tourism, securing our new logistics operations, securing our BPO sector. And that as well within the context of climate change and resilience. Recently, in 2007, this region was affected by 3 Category 5 hurricanes. It destroyed several Caribbean islands. The island of Barbuda was totally flattened. It affected Puerto Rico, St. Martin, the BVI, and it wiped out Dominica. I got a frantic call from the Prime Minister of Dominica that law and order had broken down in the country, looting had started, and he needed assistance. Now, one would have thought that that call would have probably gone to the United States or to Canada. But bear in mind that the United States was also hit at the same time, and that there were several other islands that needed help. We were not able to move our disaster preparedness team into Dominica. I see High Commissioner Peters here. And with the help of the Canadian Air Force, we were able to airlift 120 first responders from the JDF to assist the government of Dominica. So when we're talking about national security, crime is a part of it, issues of violence, but there are other issues that could plunge a nation into crisis, for which we have to be prepared. And so Jamaica has to start now to take very seriously these issues. A catastrophic hurricane or any other natural disaster could threaten our national security, and we have to be in a position to respond with the necessary equipment and trained personnel. So I want to assure the diaspora that the government here is taking national security seriously. The last key point that I want to make to you, we're making investments in infrastructure, we're making investments in national security, we're dealing with the social issues, particularly violence, but we are now seeing the fruits of the collective sacrifice for fiscal discipline. Our interest rates are the lowest they have been in decades. In 2013, our unemployment rate was 16%. Today, I'm pleased to report that the last figures tell us it is now 8%. Youth unemployment was 35%. The last figures tell us it's 21.8% now. In 2013, thereabout, our national debt, some people say it was 151. I'll be conservative, it was probably about 141% of GDP. Today, we are expecting it to be at 96% of GDP. Each time you look at the international reviews, firstly, they used to say, you know, Jamaica, a basket case. Jamaica is now success story. You know, all the multilateral agencies praise Jamaica for the incredible work that has been done in turning around the economy. And we can genuinely say that it has been a collective effort, a bipartisan effort, a true partnership in securing our economy. But now we have to get to the next phase. We have to get growth. Because we've had about 16 quarters of growth, but I won't write to you about it. Because the growth has been below 2%. In fact, this year we're expecting to get 1.9% in the fiscal year. Hopefully we'll probably crack that 2% ceiling. Jamaica's true growth potential, with all that we have just mentioned, all the investments we're making in infrastructure, in national security, in our macroeconomic reforms, we should be growing at about 5%. But we are not yet at our true growth potential because there are some things that we still have to refine and get better. The ease of doing business, that continues to be a perennial complaint. But I wish to assure you that the government is redoubling its effort, and we are seeing improvements in many of the markers of ease of doing business. Public sector bureaucracy, corruption, those issues continue to occupy the mind of the government, and we are making the necessary investments in those institutions to ensure that we can bring corruption under control and improve public sector efficiency. Ladies and gentlemen, today I wanted to deliver to you a balanced scorecard, a truthful scorecard as to where your country is and what will likely be the future. You can make a determination as to whether or not the country is on the right path. My view is that, yes, we are on the right path. It is also my view that we need to move faster than we are doing now. We might have to increase the reggae beat a little bit. We might have to increase the tempo, the pace, and make that bass a little rounder to get that pulse going a little faster. We need to have more investments happening in Jamaica. The field is well laid for it. The institutions are in place. We invite members of the diaspora to now seriously look at Jamaica as a safe and profitable opportunity for investment. And that is not just my view. Bloomberg has said so for 2 years. The Jamaica Stock Exchange, which is usually, a stock exchange is usually the foreteller of what is to come in the economy, because it is the best aggregator of economic information. And with the stock market doing so well, it is clear that the future of investment and the Jamaican economy is good. So on that note, I leave you again with the invitation. Jamaica is open for your business. So yes, I want you to come back and be tourists in your land, but I want you to come back and be investors in your land as well. God bless you, and I'll see you again in 2 years' time.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you so much for connecting those dots for us. First, in a way that shares not just your vision of Jamaica's future, a vision that I think we share, in a way that will help us to tighten our resolve, figuratively, wiping our noses, because if we want good, a nose. But also, secondly, with those connected dots showing the psychological changes that are necessary for us as a nation, and how not just financial contributions, but conversations can help to make that happen. Thank you so much. Again, ladies and gentlemen, our Prime Minister. At this time, I invite Ambassador Marcia Gilbert Roberts, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to bring the closing remarks. Let's welcome her to the lectern.
Thank you very much, Madam Masters of Ceremonies. Thank you for giving me the final words. That doesn't happen very often, but I promise you I shall be brief. But of course, in doing so, I must acknowledge Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, our special guests, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, representative of the Leader of the Opposition, former Governor General and Lady Hall, former Prime Minister Patterson, distinguished guests, fellow Jamaicans, and friends of Jamaica all. We have come to the end of what has certainly been an inspiring opening of the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. We thank you in particular, both Prime Minister Holness and President Akufo-Addo, for your reminders of the historical significance and the value of the outstanding contribution of the diaspora across the globe. And more importantly, your charge to take full advantage of the resources and collaborative processes available within the diasporic community across the globe. engaging and investing in Africa and in Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, undoubtedly, the next steps are ours. By their very nature, conferences represent opportunities for all stakeholders to bring to the table constructive ideas and proposals to advance the common objective. As a democratic society, this is very much encouraged in Jamaica. On this occasion, your participation in the conference is designed to allow Jamaicans, both at home and abroad, to jointly examine concrete ways of building pathways together for the sustainable development of Jamaica, the land we all love. The presence of indeed hundreds of you gathered here with us this evening at this opening event is undoubtedly an indication of your interest in being a part of the dialogue. Let that interest provide the impetus to make a meaningful contribution to our collective efforts at sustainable development. We should, can, and indeed must make the conference outcomes a principal delivery of our commitment to nation building. Let us therefore make optimal use of this tremendous opportunity. Conferences call for partnerships at all levels, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade reiterates our deep appreciation to all of you for agreeing to participate in the conference, and to our legacy partners, premium partners, as well as others in the private and public sectors for their strong support in making this conference a reality. And what a wonderful entertainment we have enjoyed this evening from the Jamaica Military Band and ASHE. We thank them. And now, on behalf of our Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, I invite you to join us in the gardens of the Pegasus Hotel for a welcome home reception where Jamaicans at home and abroad, as well as friends of Jamaica, can continue to engage in fellowship and fun over some good Jamaican food. And as you repair to the gardens of the hotel, you will be entertained once more by the Jamaica Military Band. We wish you all a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Gilbert Roberts. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to ask that you remain seated and allow the Prime Minister and his party to leave the room. So we ask that you just hold on a little bit longer. And while that happens, I'll remind you that the conference starts tomorrow, ends on the 20th of June with the Diaspora Day of Service projects. We invite those of you who are watching us, it's not too late to be a part of the conference. Go to mfaft.gov.jm/conference for more information. And please,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to our live stream coverage of the opening ceremony of the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, coming to you live from the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. We heard from Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, and Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
Absolutely. They had some stirring